Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the most common UX and UI mistakes. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to make a quick video just because I've been having a lot of fun reading some articles on medium.com. So I wanted to make a quick recap that I thought would be interesting for a video. So this article comes from Redby Software on medium.com, and it's about some very common UX UI mistakes. So we're going to go through them. So our first error is typography mistakes. So what the author suggests is that you don't want to clutter your UI UX designs with too many fonts. Ideally, no more than 2 or 3 fonts is recommended for your designs. Now, I would actually say 2 fonts is probably pushing it. I could see maybe 3 fonts if you wanted to use the third one very sparingly. I really like using plugins that generate 2 random fonts that pair well together to use those, but really I try not to include more than 2. But I think this is a good suggestion. The other thing that they talk about is not making things obvious. So sometimes using text to make accessibility of your UX or UI project is going to be very much warranted. All right, so the next mistake is not making things obvious in your designs. So for here, they give the example of a star. Depending on the context of your interface, having a star is going to mean different things for different applications. So you really want to make sure that when you are using icons, to make sure that their meaning is very much universal. You don't want to leave that to user judgment. You want to make things as easy to navigate as possible. And if you can do things without icons, that would be ideal. But if you need to use an icon, definitely make sure that the icon is universally known. Like for instance here, the star could mean a favorite. It could also mean like to look at your grades is what they say here in this article. Moving on, the other thing that is very important that is commonly overlooked is contrast. You need to make sure that things contrast, that they contrast well. Not only is this going to make your UI a lot better to look at, easier to navigate, but it is also about an accessibility issue. You want to make sure that there's as much contrast as possible so that your designs are as accessible to all users as possible. So the less contrast that there is, the less likely that someone that is vision impaired, or the less likely that everyone is going to be able to use your design and be able to navigate it successfully. So obviously you want to opt for as much contrast as possible. And here they give an example here about why the second option has better contrast than the first. Here in the right example, the orange text makes great contrast against the white background, whereas the teal text over the blue can be very difficult to differentiate, even with letters as big and pronounced as they are here. Another common UX mistake that we make is that we often want to clutter our designs with too many images. And what they suggest here is that to use your images sparingly, right? While it's really nice to include a ton of images and illustration to give personality to your design, point of like your app is to provide a good or a service or to solve a problem. So ideally, you want to include enough images that it makes the overall design more aesthetically pleasing without distracting the very limited attention that you have from your user, because you have to realize that you're competing for seconds of attention of people, and you want to make sure that they're able to successfully, use your design to solve their problem. So if they're being distracted by too many enticing images, that could have a negative impact on your overall design. But also keep in mind that images just clutter your design and can make them hard to load as well. So that's something to consider. Another thing that people often overlook in their designs is making sure they overlook creating a standardization for their apps, right? So what this app suggests is that as humans, we are creatures of habit. And so you really don't want to deviate too much from convention. For instance, let's say you're making a workout app, right? Or a very niche product in the fitness industry. You really want to make sure that your design is standard while at the same time standing out. You don't want your design to be all too eccentric, right? You don't want to reinvent the wheel completely, because humans are, creatures of habit. So you want to make sure that your design is as easy as possible to create a routine out of. You want to make sure that the elements in your design are where people would assume that they would be, right? So you don't want to make your design too out of left field that people have to go against the conventions that they already have, pre-programmed. They have certain expectations about how to navigate a page or how to navigate a fitness app. You don't want to necessarily deviate from that it creates confusion and has a negative impact on the usability of your design. So that's something to consider. All right, guys, there you have it. That was a quick video, just a couple of things to consider when creating your UX and UI designs. So that was it for this video. I wanted to keep it nice and short, just provide some cool insights from an article that I read on medium.com. So thank you guys for making it to the end of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and stay hydrated, everyone. I'll see you all in the next video.